Welcome to another exciting episode of Codo's Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Codo. Last week, I reviewed the 2020 live-action Disney remake of Mulan, where I thought I liked the film or not. My response for that film was more mixed, although there were some moments that I actually enjoyed. However, today's episode, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to compare both Mulan films, the 1998 animated original and the 2020 live-action Disney remake. With these comparisons, I like to call this new portion of the episode Classic versus Remake. Before I compare both films, let me recap last week's episode. That will also be a part of today's episode. The original 1998 animated Disney film, Mulan, is one of Disney's greatest films in the Disney Renaissance, particularly for its title character, who was voiced by Ming-Na Wen. The film is based on a ballad of the same name. Supporting characters, which includes Li Shang, Yao, Shampo, Ling, the Cricket, and of course, Mushu himself, voiced by Eddie Murphy. This film is probably remembered for having one of the best songs ever, I'll Make a Man Out of You, which was sung by Donny Osmond, and a musical score by Jerry Goldsmith, which became his final film score ever to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Score. The 1998 animated film is a classic, which has been referenced a lot in pop culture, particularly the I'll Make a Man Out of You song, Eddie Murphy's performance as Mushu and the title character, and the marketing of the Szechuan sauce from McDonald's, which has been referenced in Rick and Morty. Over 20 years later, there is a live-action remake. The live-action remake of Mulan went for a much more serious tone compared to the original ballad, or I should say, taking inspiration for the original ballad and not doing a shot-for-shot remake. While the original Mulan aimed for a much more comedic type, even though it did have some serious moments. The critical reception of the new Mulan film has been generally positive, but many audiences and fans of the 1998 original were split. The film generated controversy with some questionable location choices, comments, and removing characters, particularly Mushu. However, many people appreciated the cinematography, stunts, costumes, production design, action sequences, and performances. The question remains, which film is better? The 1998 Disney animated original or the 2020 live-action Disney remake? Well, I'm going to tell it to you guys through main character, supporting characters, villain, music, action sequences, and the overall story. So, grab your popcorn, chicken nuggets with Szechuan sauce, and let's get down to business to compare both films. This is Classic versus Remake of Mulan. The first round is basically the main character, which is Mulan, who's being voiced and played by Ming-Na Wen in the 1998 original and Yiffy Lu in the 2020 live-action remake. And to be honest, you can't have a comparison without mentioning our main character or main actor, which is definitely our first round. Starting with the 2020 live-action remake, the title character is played by Yiffy Lu, or as some people call her, Crystal Lu. And yes, I did look up that name. The live-action version, I thought her performance in this one is good. I mean, she won't top the original, that's for sure. She actually got to do some pretty cool action sequences and stunts that I was impressed at. I also liked the chemistry between her and the father. That alone is one of the film's feel-good moments. Yiffy's performance in this film is good, but there were issues with the writing where the writers decided to have Mulan use Qi as a power she possessed instead of using Qi as a medicine concerning a person's flow of energy. On top of that, she hides her power while training, knowing that she is already powerful enough to fight or train. In the 1998 original of the same name, Mulan starts off, how do I say it? I mean, she does start off on the wrong foot a little bit. I mean, she's funny, a little clumsy, and a caring character for the most part. And yes, she does have her emotions. She does have her emotions and struggle. But what I like most about the original Mulan is that it's been built up. They built up from the struggle to success, because Mulan started out by being dishonorable to be a match and trying to find out who she is inside. And while, yes, she did get into an argument with her father about him joining the army despite his leg injury. And then her father tells Mulan to learn her place. However, she later goes into a heroic move by taking her father's place in the army. In fact, it has one of the most epic moments where Mulan cuts her hair with the sword when disguising herself as a man, along with the amazing score by Jerry Goldsmith. And once she got to camp, she did hit a few bumps on the road. Ming-Na Wen voices the title character so well that she became the 8th Disney princess and the first one to not be born of royalty. She brings in the personality and energy to bring Mulan to life. In fact, Ming-Na Wen also cameos in the 2020 live-action remake, so I guess it's a good honorable mention as well. While I do like Yiffy's take on Mulan, I gotta give this point to Ming-Na Wen. First point goes to the 1998 original. So, winner of this round is Ming-Na Wen from the original Mulan. Round 2, supporting characters. And what's good about having a main character is supporting characters. Let's go to the original Mulan for supporting characters. In the 1998 original, there are many great and memorable supporting characters that I can literally single out. Let me single them out. The supporting characters in the original are Ling, Xianpo, and Yao, who are Mulan's friends. At first, the trio didn't get along with her, or should I say, with him, as Ping, since their first encounter, because they did brawl out in camp, which causes the army to fight as well. But once Mulan began to train harder, they were very impressed. Plus, Ling, Xianpo, and Yao do give in some very good comic relief. Li Shang, who is the captain of the army and Mulan's love interest, brings in the leadership to the army, and on top of that, trains Mulan pretty well. Ping. Very, very well. Even if Mulan's first day of training turned out to be a disaster, well, for Mulan and for Li Shang. Good thing it builds up to. But I believe the most memorable supporting character is Mushu, who's voiced by Eddie Murphy. Mushu is the comic relief dragon that we all know and love. He brings in the good energy and laughs whenever he's on the screen when supporting Mulan, along with the cricket himself. Not Jiminy Cricket, I'm talking about the actual cricket from Mulan, which is pretty good. Oh, and by the way, I also forgot to mention the grandma as well, because despite her short on-screen presence, she did give in some good one-liners as well. In the 2020 live-action remake, Ling, Xianpo, and Yao do appear in the film, but they feel a little bit more serious than comic relief. Granted, they do have one or two funny moments in there. In fact, Cricket, which is the human live-action version of the cricket, joins the army as well. In fact, Cricket did get a funny moment where the drill sergeant asks if he's crying for not carrying 2 buckets of water to the top of the mountain. Well, it's bad enough that Mulan's love interest in this film is not Li Shang, but the love interest in this live-action remake is Shan Honghui, who becomes a love interest to Mulan in this live-action remake. Well, it's not a bad idea, despite his screen time. Commander Tung is another good character too, because he acts like Mulan's mentor, which I thought was actually pretty good. I mean Han Jun, which is the name for Mulan as one disguised as a man. Instead of Mushu appearing in this film, the writers decided to add in a phoenix that helps Mulan throughout her journey and battle. At first, this isn't a bad idea, but the biggest problem that I had with the phoenix is that it barely appears in this film. I mean, granted, not a bad idea, but if you're gonna do more with the phoenix, why didn't the phoenix appear during the battle on the mountain? Why didn't the phoenix catch Mulan's sword from being burned into the ring of fire, or stopping the arrow blast from Bori Khan? The only scenes you get to see the phoenix is when Mulan is riding to camp, standing on the ice when Mulan got knocked out by the witch, and giving Mulan what appears to be the X-Men Archangel logo or something. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, the Phoenix is not a bad idea. I mean, it's a good idea, but I mean, if you're gonna have the Phoenix, why not have the Phoenix in other scenes, not just one or two scenes? I mean, you gotta build up to that. And having the Phoenix in this film, like I said, not a bad idea, but it felt like a wasted opportunity for it to appear in this film where Mushu should have been in. And to think about it, that's a little bit of a waste. In fact, Kevin Hart was originally going to voice Mushu in his live-action remake, but that turned out to be false. While I do appreciate some of the changes in the live-action remake for the characters, some of it felt like a wasted opportunity from the writing. But the 1998 original takes the next point by comic relief. Winner for this round goes to the Disney animated original. Score is 2-0, Disney 1998 of Mulan. Round 3, villains. And what's good about supporting characters where the villain kicks in? Let's take a look at the villain, Shan Yu and Bori Khan. When I saw the 1998 original film, I thought the villain Shan Yu was an interesting villain. He is intimidating, with brute strength and with an army of Huns on his side. Plus, he was voiced by Miguel Ferrer. Plus, he's got a hawk as a pet sidekick. So, I thought that was pretty good, but also, oh boy, intimidating. Unlike the other Disney villains where their motivations focus on the main character, Shan Yu's motivation is to conquer China. The opening scene alone, where the Huns raid the Great Wall, gives audiences a surprise of how the plot of the film is going to move forward. Shan Yu does get some impressive action sequences, including a moment where he sends the messengers to deliver a message to the Emperor. But I believe the darkest moment from Shan Yu was this question: how many men does it take to deliver a message? One of the Huns holds his bow and arrow and says, 1. Cuts to black. That moment alone is one of the scariest moments in any Disney animated film. His on-screen presence is short, and I know this is a little nitpicky, but bear with me, please. I believe one of the problems with this villain is that we know nothing about this guy. Granted, he's got a good motivation and an army on his side, but many people barely know who this guy is and why he wants to conquer China. Other than that, I enjoyed his fight against Li Shang and Mulan. I'm talking about the villain, Shan Yu, especially in the moment where he gets blown up by fireworks on the rooftop for Mushu. In the 2020 live-action remake, Bori Khan is the villain in this one, which basically is the Shan Yu. I mean, but different. Granted, he has a little more screen time than Shan Yu. His moments with his Ronin army are intimidating and exhilarating at the same time, thanks to the amazing stunt choreography. Bori Khan is also seeking vengeance on the Emperor because the Emperor killed his father which is now used as a character build-up for the main villain. In fact, the costume designs and makeup for the Ronins are pretty cool, even if they look like Hazassians from the Prince of Persia. However, Bori Khan has another villain on his side, and it's the Witch. The Witch is another villain that I find interesting and cool since her appearance in the trailers. She has nails for claws and shapeshifts into anything, like a hawk or posing as another human being. Speaking of which, her costume design looks like a hawk, and to be fair, it's a good callback to the original hawk in the original Mulan. She does give Mulan a run for her chi and understanding of why the Witch is teaming up with Bori Khan. While I do feel like the Witch is more of an afterthought due to the fact that she feels more like a leading villain while Bori Khan acts like a secondary villain. But for the most part, having two villains is actually pretty cool. And I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but as much as I like Shan Yu in the original, I gotta give this point to the remake. Because having two villains is twice the action for this film. Winner of this round goes to Mulan 2020. Score is 2-1 with the animated film in the lead. Round 4, music. And what is good of having both films without mentioning the musical side? Let's go into music. And yes, this is going to be a pretty obvious dead giveaway. The live-action remake is not a musical, and to be fair, it is not a bad change. Sometimes not every remake is a musical, although Loyal, Brave and True and Christina Aguilera's Reflections are played during the credits. Two of the songs ended up being played as instrumental backgrounds, which is You'll Bring Honor to Us All and Reflections. While I do find these two as good callbacks to the original, despite being played very briefly. Composer Harry Gregson Williams, who collaborated with Nikki Carroll, the director of this film, who also directed Whale Rider, composed the music for the film. To Harry's credit, he does a pretty good job with the score by bringing in some good influences to Chinese culture and pretty much the rest of the film. I especially love the desert sequence with the Ronins for the score, where it actually sounds very similar to Prince of Persia. How about the 1998 original? Well, the music for the original Mulan was originally going to be composed by Stephen Schwartz, along with the songs too. But former Disney chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is now working for DreamWorks, brought Stephen Schwartz on board to write songs for Prince of Egypt. Danny Elfman, Thomas Newman, Randy Edelman, and Rachel Portman were in line to compose the score until Jerry Goldsmith became available. David Zippel would later write the songs for the 1998 original. The songs that were played in the original were Reflections, You'll Bring Honor to Us All, A Girl We're Fighting For, and I'll Make a Man Out of You, which was sung by Donny Osmond. And boy, like I said, I am giving this a dead giveaway. Hands down, folks. I'll Make a Man Out of You is literally the best Disney song ever. While I like Disney's Let It Go from Frozen and When You Wish Upon a Star, but I'll Make a Man Out of You is literally the best Disney song out there. So you guys have your thoughts. I have mine. And with Jerry Goldsmith on board to write the score, his score for this film is amazing, which does bring in the epicness to what the film should be. Harry Gregson Williams' music is good, but nowhere near as epic as Jerry Goldsmith and Donny Osmond's I'll Make a Man Out of You. This point goes to the original Mulan for making a man out of you. Winner is the original. Score is 3-1 for the 1998 original. Alright, let's go into round 5. What is round 5? The action sequences. I know both films deal with a lot of action sequences, but which film did it better? In the 1998 original, there wasn't a whole lot of action sequences. The training sequence, mountain battle, and the final battle are the only action sequences in the 1998 original. Granted, it keeps the story moving forward. The mountain battle is considered by many to be one of the greatest action sequences in the 1998 Mulan film, due to the avalanche, the shooting of the fireworks, and the Huns charging down the mountain. Heck, Mulan gives in a pretty cool move when she removes Shen Yu's sword with her fan. Running out of ideas? Not quite. In the 2020 live-action remake, there are multiple action sequences to single out. Mulan's chasing of the chicken, which gives in her stunts, the Ronins attack in the village, the mountain battle, Mulan's duel with the witch, Mulan's duel with Shen Honghui while training, and her final battle with Bori Khan. In fact, this film has amazing stunt choreography that looks something similar out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. As much as I love the action sequences in the original Mulan, I gotta give this point to the 2020 live-action remake. Winner of this round goes to the 2020 live-action remake. Score is 3-2, with the original still taking the lead. And now it all comes down to the story, where it has the best direction, best writing, and overall good idea on telling the story. So round 6 is the story. To be fair, the story was all over the place for both films, both the 1998 animated original and the 2020 live-action remake, which is based on the actual ballad. The plot alone is simple. Mulan impersonates herself as a male soldier to take her father's place during a conscription to counter an invasion. The 1998 original has Mulan facing off against the Huns, and their leader is Shen Yu. She takes her father's place because her father is facing a leg injury in his leg. While I do appreciate the drama of the first act, the last two acts became more for comedy, thanks to Mushu, Shampo, Ling, and Yao. While the film could have had some more serious moments, they actually balanced out between the drama and comedy in this film. It is still an enjoyable film to watch. I also liked how Mulan was built up in the original because she was struggling throughout training, and she barely got expelled from the army for being unsuited. Especially in the beginning of the film, where she's literally dishonorable. I mean, well, yes, granted, she is funny, and she does have her emotions and clumsy moments. But however, once it got to the point of the army, it's the moment where she decides to join the army by cutting her hair, especially the part where she barely gets expelled. The moment where she decides to climb up to the pole to get the arrow by using the gold heavy metals or something, meaning that she is struggling but working hard to achieve that goal. She is working hard to get to the top. I believe that's what I like about the original, because whenever someone is struggling and is about to get the boot, you decide to push yourself and work hard to achieve your goal, which is exactly what Mulan did in the 1998 original. In the 2020 version, it's basically the same plot, albeit in a much more serious tone, but maybe a little too serious. I guess you can say that the writers tried to go for a much more realistic take, like the ballad, which is not a bad idea. Granted, I feel like it didn't balance that out. Well, like I said, it's not a shot-for-shot remake, which I like, but I feel like if they balanced that out between the ballad and the original, it would have worked. Just like how the 2016 Jungle Book movie that Jon Favreau directed actually balanced out between the original 1967 Jungle Book and the books as well. But for Mulan, not so much. The film barely has any humor, although there were a couple of moments where I did get a chuckle or two. And my God, what was with that CGI spider that the writers put in? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to outdo Spider-Man? The cricket sitting in the teapot was funnier compared to the CGI spider. And yes, that CGI spider was in this live-action remake, but not for long. I do like the Chinese cultural influences that the filmmakers try to put into this film, but many people pointed out that the film felt like it didn't reflect the Chinese culture enough. Especially the way how the writers wrote Mulan by having superpowers, which got a lot of people mad. Granted, she got some pretty cool action sequences though. Her interaction with the witch is good too, but I feel like the chemistry between Mulan and her father is one of the few good moments of the film that was good. There were moments in the film that came off as bland too. I mean, not a lot, but there were some. I feel like the moment where Mulan gets expelled from the army in the live-action remake came off as bland. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it literally did. I mean, granted, my reaction to the 2020 Disney live-action remake of Mulan was more mixed, as I mentioned in last week's episode. But however, this live-action remake won't top the original. Because while I love some of the changes, there were definitely moments and some changes that didn't make sense. So as much as I kind of like the 2020 live-action remake, the winner of this round goes to the 1998 Disney animated original. Because that film alone was able to not only balance out between the comedy and humor and giving us memorable characters, it did at least tell a good story in a much more realistic way. In a score of 4-2, Disney's Mulan 1998 wins. So the classic wins this one. I know. Some of you guys are probably thinking, I don't know if it was a fair competition or not. But what do you guys think? Was this a fair game? Did I miss out on anything that I would compare it to? Does that mean I hate the new film? Not really. I don't. hate the film. I don't. I do have mixed feelings, but not really. There were definitely some moments in the live action remake of Mulan that I really enjoyed, but overall, it's more mixed on my opinion. However, the original 1998 Disney's Mulan will forever be a superior film that I know and love today. So, if you guys have reactions or opinions about the live action remake and the original 1998 animated film, feel free to share them out. Thank you for tuning in to Codo's Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.